Good evening and welcome.
To RSQ.
Stop. It's over. Cut the recording.
Yep.
The book
Well,
fell.
this is what we'll be reviewing today is For the Wolf by Hannah
Bye.
Whitten.
And this is our first official review for the channel.
Our first official review, and I've already got a gripe, and I'm just going to say it right now. I hate when they put these stickers on the dang book.
Oh, yeah.
These ones at least can come off, so I'll be able to get that off. But there's some that they print on now. Bothers me.
Oh, should we read the synopsis? Is that what I'm looking for?
Yeah, the spiel.
For the wolf. The first daughter is for the throne. The second daughter is for the wolf. As the only second daughter born in centuries, Red has one purpose: to be sacrificed to the wolf in the wood, in the hope he'll return the world's captured gods. Red's almost relieved to go. Plagued by a dangerous power she can't control, at least she knows that in the Wilderwood, she can't hurt those she loves again. But the legends lie. The wolf is a man, not a monster. Her magic is a calling, not a curse. If she doesn't learn how to use it, the monsters the gods have become will swallow the Wilderwood and her world whole. Bum bum bum.
Bum bum bum. And we've read it, so now we can tell you about it.
We did it. We finished it. It was on the wheel. We spun the wheel. It landed on For the Wolf. So we read For the Wolf.
And there is a sequel that we're reading as well. But we're just doing one book at a time. So we've got For the Wolf for you today, and our RSQ rating of the day is 5.5.
5.5. So should we go through our
we'll go through the rubric.
Talk about it?
Yeah.
All right. Our first category, well-developed characters. How'd you feel about the characters in this book, Curtis?
I enjoyed two of the characters. Were they well developed? I would say no. I think out of how many main characters would you say there were? Like 5 or 6? I think one character got some development that mattered, and the other ones nothing.
Yeah, the main character, Red, I think is really the only one I would say got proper character development. Got a full, well-rounded amount of character development. And I think the book lacked like flashbacks or background context that maybe would have like built these characters out more. I don't know.
Yeah, so even like the wolf, Eamon, I think is how you say it. Eamon.
Yeah, I have no idea. In my brain, it was Eamon, but I don't know if that's accurate either.
My brain just immediately remember from I don't know if you watched The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, but where his name's Edmund, but they go Edmund. That just kept popping into my head during the book. But they tried to give him some, I guess, backstory with his parents and everything like that, and it just felt very weak. Very surface level, and it was needed and it helped, but that was all we got. And so we have this moody Beauty and the Beast type, and he stayed that way the whole time.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to get redeemed. I was waiting for him to be redeemed, but I think that he made the same decision at every point in the book and acted the same at every point in the book and didn't grow at all. And so we just have this character who stays static throughout the whole book, even though the world around him is changing. And it's just what do we?
And that's fine. Maybe for a side character, maybe. I mean, I would like some more development, but when it's your main, one of the main 3 characters, then, in my opinion, not acceptable. So we got 0 points for that.
Neither of us gave it a point for character development.
No. Second point in our rubric, originality and creativity. I gave it a 1. I gave it a 1
too. I felt like even though this is a story that's both Red Riding Hood-esque and Beauty and the Beast-esque, that it was unique. The premise felt unique to me. It didn't feel like I was just reading Beauty and the Beast or reading Little Red Riding Hood.
No, I felt like the twists and or at least the different spin that they put on it was nice. It felt like it took some elements from each of those and was like, all right, we'll make something new with it, or at least, something fresh.
Yeah.
In my opinion, yeah.
Next, we had the story end / wrap up. And I think we both gave it a point there.
Yeah, we both gave it a point there. I thought the ending was wrapped up. I didn't feel like there was any loose ends that won't necessarily be answered in the sequel, since there is going to be another book. There's of course going to be things that aren't like finished up, but I didn't feel like we finished it. I'm like, wait a minute, but what happened with like these three things?
XYZ, what's going on? Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I didn't see it coming, and I like to not be able to predict the ending. I didn't see like what was going to happening, and it felt like it had a decent like Sanderlanche, the like final like 10-20% of the book. It felt like was a good pace, like flowed pretty well, but that's like technically a different category. But yeah, wrap up was good.
Yeah.
Next we had world building or setting.
Yeah, so I think for this one, I think we also both gave a point here. It was very simple world, very simple setting, but I thought, so there's two elements. You have the wildwood and you have the castle. You have like some little cities outside, but I feel like it gave most of the
it was a pretty contained story, so I felt like it was okay that it didn't expand on it.
Yeah, I think from what I was gathering from reading, the story knew it was simple, and so it stayed simple. There's very like simple themes, simple characters and setting, and I think it kind of just stuck with that. We didn't really delve too deep into anything, which is fine. Yeah. And so pacing and structure. How did you feel about that?
I gave it a half point for pacing. I felt like the beginning and the end were structured good, and I felt like in the middle we just had like the same chapters that were kind of happening over and over again.
Yeah.
And so it was like the pacing in the middle just sort of dropped for me. It was dragging a little bit in the middle. The end I liked, and the beginning was a good like mysterious dark fantasy aspect to like draw you in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt like the middle slowed down a bit. I did give it a full point in this one. I wasn't sure to give it a full point in this one or for our engaging storyline, but I just felt like the middle we were doing the same things over and over again. The characters they were getting a slightly different result to progress the story, but I felt like I was just reading the same plot or the same the same couple of pages in a row.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, issue for the main character arises. It's resolved. Oh no, another issue arises, but it's the same issue and it's resolved the same way.
But like literally the same issue. Like,
yeah,
I guess spoiler. They go to a tree. They stop the tree from sinking into the ground. He gets mad at her for stopping the tree the way that she's stopping it. They go back to the castle. They make up. They go back out. Another tree's going to the ground. Let's stop it. No, not that way. And then it just like 4 times. I was like,
I was like, come on.
What are we doing?
We could use a little expanded, a little more information here, a little more something, a little something. Just put some salt on it. Give me some salt, pepper, garlic.
We'll spice.
A little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that's why we give it the point we give it. So
yeah. Next we had emotional impact. I feel like emotional impact is going to always be, for me, directly tied to character development, at least in part, right? Like we didn't have, I'm sure that you can have a story. I don't know. Can you have a story where you don't have good character development, where you're not like related to where you're not tied to the characters and it still has emotional impact? If the world around has a lot of like moving elements, maybe, but I feel like for me, emotional impact is going to always be tied to character development, because like if I could relate to the characters and I was like really deeply invested, like if I thought that Edmund was like a super cool character and I like really related to his like twisted background and his like the way his heart was moved for Red, then maybe I would have been like, that was emotionally impactful. But alas.
Yeah, and I think you can have emotionally impactful characters without an impactful story, but you can't have, like you said, an impactful story without impactful characters. I think the only like caveat to that I can think of would be like where I care about the world so much that like it's okay that the characters kind of suck. And my example of that would be you ever watch the Fantastic Beasts movie from Harry Potter?
Yeah.
I liked the Harry Potter series a lot. And I was like, cool, we're going to get more Harry Potter. And I like cared about the world and everything that was happening, but I didn't give a single heck about a single character in those Fantastic Beasts movies. And it's
Yeah.
like supposed to be this big moment. And I'm like, okay.
Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
we both gave it a 0 there.
yeah, but I think for how like, I mean, it's not an excuse, I guess, but how for sure like shallow and like simple of a book it was, I wasn't expecting to like change my worldview, but it would have been nice to care about the characters.
Yeah, ratings I think will always be a bit subjective, right? Like it is a simple book. It's meant for maybe a new fantasy reader, maybe someone that wants like a simple non-committal book to read. The person who's like looking to read this book is not someone that's like, I'm going to sit down and read every book in the Cosmere that Brandon Sanderson's written right now, right? Like they're not going to start with this book if they're looking to do that like right now.
No, and it's like you said, it's an intro, and also it's nice. It was a nice palate cleanser. I felt like where you come off a big series, you're like, I just want something simple to read, something to like get in and enjoy it for what it is and get out.
Which is kind of our theme for I think the first half of this year, right? We're looking at palate cleanser books.
Ease into the year and then hit it heavy at the end. I don't know what we're gonna hit it heavy with, but
yeah, that'll be TBD. But we're definitely our current RSQ TBR is filled with some simpler palate cleansers that are meant to be just easy reads, nice one-offs, not as much like we reread most of the I reread most of the Cosmere. You read the Cosmere last year to read Wind and Truth, so that was like bigger commitment. And so it's a ease into the year.
Yeah, and we'll go over our I guess our upcoming TBR wheel. Maybe we'll do a separate video on that and kind of show you what's coming up on the old read list.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Next point, writing style and prose. I gave it a 1. I gave it a point.
Yeah.
I never felt like I wasn't rereading sentences trying to think like, what is this person trying to tell me? It felt pretty fluid. It wasn't like, stutter reading, how you sometimes just read something, you're like, all right, this is so clunky. I thought it was nice. The world, they spoke well for the world.
And, yeah, agreed. And next we had engaging storyline.
So this is the one where I didn't give the full point instead of pacing. Just because of that middle chunk where I'm like, I was invested in the beginning, part of the middle, and then the end. But just the middle was just like, it's a lot of the same. It's a lot of the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we both feel the same way. We just chose where to allocate our points differently. But the story as a whole, I appreciated how it started, how it got to the end, what the end was. I appreciated the story as a whole. So that's why I felt like I gave it a point here and docked it on pacing instead because of that middle like slowdown.
Yeah, I think you're more right with your point allocation.
And then our next one?
Meaningful themes and depth. I don't think either of us gave a point for this.
No, we both did not.
No, I mean, it was very vanilla. It was very simple, which is fine, but there wasn't anything to deep dive in. There wasn't any like hidden anything. It was just very face value story. Like, this is what's happening. Read it as it's happening. You're not going to think about it really.
Yeah. Which is interesting, right? Like, it's a simple book, and I think that it raises the philosophical question: can simple books still have deep themes? And I think that simple books can still have meaningful and impactful themes, right? So, is it okay that this book didn't have meaningful themes? Yeah, I mean, it's fine. We're rating it lower, but we're still saying, like, if you want a simple dark fantasy book to read, you go read this. But yeah, either way, it's getting docked there because it's just very surface level.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to have like something in there more meaningful, or something to, I guess, explore, challenge your mind as the readers, some crap like that. But it was just, it was one of those, like we said, palate cleanser where you read it and you're like, wow, that was a book. And then, but it wasn't bad. It just, we don't have those. We're missing a point.
Yeah. And then
re-readability and lasting impact. Nothing for me.
Nothing for me either.
I
One and done.
One and done. I don't like I said, I don't think it was bad, but I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be like in a year from now or two be like, oh, you know what I haven't read in a while? It's really scratched that itch is
For the Wolf. I should go back and dig into that. Sit by the fire, open up For the Wolf, jump into the dark fantasy realm of the Wilderwood or the Wilderwood.
Yes, and I think that a lot of these categories kind of a little bit intersect with like the lasting impact because if I'm not connected to the characters, if it's not an engaging storyline, I'm not necessarily gonna wanna I'm not thinking about it when I trying to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, Dakota, was this book, in your opinion, an absolute RSQ banger 10 out of 10?
Ooh, it's not getting the RSQ 10 out of 10, RSQ stamp of approval.
No, it is not getting the RSQ 10 out of 10. And it's a bummer. I was, looking forward to this book. I didn't really read the synopsis when we got it. I was just like, I've heard stuff about, people reading this book and it looked interesting. So
yeah,
we took a shot at it.
To me, it was a big missed opportunity. I think that there's so much more that the author could have done and still kept it simple, right? Like, I thought that the idea of it, the dark fantasy world building, was really good at drawing us in. It just could have done more. Could have been.
It's very surface level.
Or that could have been done, right? Could have dug into it a bit more. Could have fleshed out like an exciting world around it, or could have made the characters really exciting, and we didn't get that.
We didn't get that. All right. RSQ recommended. Do we recommend this book to you readers out there watching this? To our viewers? I would say, yeah, I'd recommend it.
I would too. It's like we said, simple, right? Like average, mediocre books can still be good books. Like just because it's average to me doesn't mean someone who's trying to start reading again for the first time in years won't enjoy it.
Yeah, so I think we recommend it. I would say with the caveat as you're new into fantasy or you like the Beauty and the Beast type. What do you call that trope? I suppose. If that's kind of your thing, or if you're new into fantasy, then yeah, give it a shot. If you're coming off, reading really heavy long series or very high fantasy, you probably won't enjoy it, and that's okay.
If you're looking for your next high fantasy or space opera or your next deep thriller, it's probably not gonna be this. But it's still worth your time.
It was an enjoyable plane read, I'll call it.
Exactly.
I'm not paying attention. I'm trying not to fall asleep. I'm reading on the plane, and when the plane lands, I might remember the story.
There you go. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So I think that's why we give it a 5.5 out of 5. It was okay.
Yeah, it's just okay. All right. So
still reading the sequel though.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're committed. We're not
committed.
We're not just gonna walk away.
DNF a series or a book. Like I have to finish it through. So
yeah, both of us.
Maybe it'll be better.
Maybe it will be. Both of us work really hard, I think, to try and see it through. We're not DNFers. We don't typically put books down and not finish them. Sometimes I think I'll take a break and come back to it if I'm really struggling. But we don't DNF.
I think we're big on giving the benefit of the doubt, especially because to put it like an author worked hard on this and I'm going to give it the shot it deserves and go from there. I mean, if it's like 12 books long and I'm 2 books in and they suck, I probably won't go through the rest of it. But if it's a trilogy, sure, I'll read a book. Yeah,
I've definitely read books where it was struggling in the first half, or the first book of the series struggled, and then it got really good. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I stuck around.
Yeah.
So we give it the benefit of the doubt, right?
Yes, because we got to find those gold mines for you out there. We got to find the treasure at the bottom of the sea, so you don't have to dive that deep.
Well, to rapid fire RSQ sum it up, we gave this book for the Wolf. There we go. We gave For the Wolf a 5.5 out of 10.
Yep.
And we thought that it was a unique story. The world building was interesting. The concept of this wild wood was interesting, but that it was just kind of surface level. The characters weren't well developed. Didn't give us it didn't have the pizzazz we needed to be a higher rated book. But to our RSQ fans, we do recommend it. We do think it's a nice, simple read.
Nice simple read. Like we said, you're not going to be thinking about it when you go to bed. Not very lasting, but I was enjoying it while I was reading it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
So what's next on the RSQ docket?
On the RSQ docket is the sequel.
Yeah, we're both going to read
For the Wolf is For the Throne.
For the Throne. I'm going to do a solo review of Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is a hot topic book nowadays.
It is fun. The hot potato out there that everyone's grabbing.
And other than that, we'll see if we have any other fun content in the meantime.
I think we'll probably shortly do a review on Teller of Small Fortunes too. I think
that's another
one on our list. We finished that one before we kind of started this, so that's still fresh in our minds.
Maybe that'll be our stopgap before you finish For the Throne. We'll do a Teller of Small Fortunes review.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we've got to do the making of the wheel.
Yeah, we'll do a wheel video as well.
So stay tuned for all that interesting action.
Yeah, because all the spots are figured out. We know what we're going to put on them. We just have to show the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
But for now, thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in to our first RSQ official book review.
Yeah, thanks for being here. The first one.
You can say you were there since the beginning.
You were there since the beginning. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being
here. All right, guys. Till next time.
Next time. See you next time on RSQ.
On RSQ out.